Imagine you're pulling up to a high-end valet stand. You've got a line of blacked-out BMW X5s, a couple of Mercedes GLEs, and maybe a Range Rover or two. They're all nice, but let's be honest, they've become the corporate uniform of the luxury SUV world. Then you roll up in this. It's got a massive crest grille that looks like it belongs on a medieval shield, headlights that look like glowing stripes of light, and a silhouette that makes people whisper, "Wait, is that a Bentley?" But here's the problem. It's not a Bentley. It's a Genesis, a brand that just a decade ago was basically just a badge on a fancy Hyundai. So the question is, can this newcomer really take down the kings of Germany, or is it just a high-end costume hiding a budget soul? If you're looking to drop $80,000 or $90,000 on a luxury SUV in 2026, you need to know if you're buying a masterpiece or a mistake. Today, we're tearing apart the Genesis GV80 to see if it's actually the best luxury SUV on the market, or if you should just stick with the status symbol everyone else is driving.
Let's start with the way this thing looks, because we have to address the elephant in the room. Genesis hired a bunch of designers from Bentley and Lamborghini a few years back, and it shows. The GV80 doesn't just sit in a parking lot, it commands it. For the 2025 and 2026 models, they've doubled down on that athletic elegance look. You've got the new double mesh grille, which adds a lot of depth, and those signature two-line LED lamps that wrap all the way around to the fenders. Usually, when a car tries this hard to look expensive, it ends up looking a bit desperate. You've seen those aftermarket body kits on old Chryslers that try to look like phantoms. It's cringy. The GV80 is walking a razor-thin line between timeless classic and trying too hard. If the build quality doesn't match the visual drama, the whole illusion of luxury falls apart the second you touch the door handle. But when you actually get close, you realize it's not a facade. The chrome isn't plasticky, the paint has this deep, rich metallic flake, and the 22-inch wheels look like pieces of industrial art. It has this parabolic line running down the side that makes the car look like it's leaning back, ready to launch. It's one of the few SUVs on the road today that actually makes a BMW X5 look a little bit boring.
Now, as impressive as the outside is, the interior is where the real fight happens. Step inside and you're greeted by a cabin that feels more like a high-end boutique hotel than a car. You've got quilted Napa leather everywhere, real open-pore wood trim, and a steering wheel that actually feels substantial in your hands. But there's a massive trap that luxury car makers are falling into lately: screens. Everyone is trying to outscreen each other. We've seen some brands just glue a giant tablet to the dashboard, but it usually just ends up looking like an afterthought that's distracting to use at 70 miles per hour. Genesis decided to go a different route for the latest GV80. They've installed a massive 27-inch OLED display that stretches across half the dashboard. Now, usually I hate this because it feels like you're driving a smartphone, but they've integrated it into the leather-wrapped dash so it actually looks like it belongs there. And here's the payoff. They kept the physical knobs. You still have a crystal-like rotary shifter and physical dials for the volume and tuning. It's this perfect blend of I live in the future and I just want to turn the music up without looking at a menu. They even added a mood curator system. If you've had a stressful day at work, the car will change the ambient lighting, start massaging your back, and release a specific scent like Great Outdoors or Vitality to calm you down. It's basically a rolling spa. If you're someone who values tranquility over technical gimmicks, this interior is going to ruin every other car for you.
But a luxury SUV can't just be a pretty face with a nice massage chair. It actually has to move. Under the hood, you've got two main choices. There's the 2.5-liter turbocharged four-cylinder with 300 horsepower, which is fine, but let's be real. If you're buying a car this big, you want the 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6. That one pumps out 375 horsepower and 391 pound-feet of torque. The tension here comes from the weight. This is a heavy vehicle. It weighs well over 5,000 pounds. That's like trying to move a small house using a couple of fans. If the engine feels sluggish or the 8-speed transmission starts hunting for gears every time you want to pass someone on the highway, that luxury feeling evaporates instantly. Nobody wants to feel like they're struggling to get up to speed in an $80,000 car.
However, the V6 handles it with total ease. It doesn't feel snappy like a sports car, but it feels effortless, which is actually better for this segment. It just surges forward with this low, refined growl. But the real secret sauce is the electronically controlled suspension with road preview. It uses a front-facing camera to literally scan the pavement ahead. If it sees a pothole or a speed bump coming up, it adjusts the dampers in milliseconds to brace for the impact. The result? You just float over things that would make a Mercedes-Benz jolt. It's not a car for carving canyons. If you want to go fast in corners, buy a Porsche Cayenne. But if you want to feel like the road was paved specifically for you 5 minutes before you arrived, the GV80 delivers. We have to talk about the 3-row situation though, because this is where a lot of people get frustrated. On paper, the GV80 is a family hauler. It has that 3rd row of seats, which makes it look like a great alternative to a minivan. But looking at that sleek, sloping roofline from the outside, you have to wonder where that space is coming from. Physics is a cruel mistress, and you can't have a beautiful, swept-back design and a massive interior at the same time.
If you try to put an adult or even a tall teenager in that 3rd row, you're basically asking for a lawsuit. It is tight. The floor is high, the ceiling is low, and your knees will be hitting your chin. It's an emergency-only zone. But here's the payoff. Most people don't actually need 7 seats every day. Genesis made the 3rd row power folding. You hit a button in the trunk, the seats disappear into the floor, and suddenly you have a massive 36.5 cubic feet of cargo space. If you treat this as an ultra-luxurious 5-seater that happens to have extra chairs for when the kids' friends need a lift, it's perfect. If you're trying to use this as a full-time bus for a family of 6, you're going to be disappointed. Know what you're buying it for, and you'll love it. Now, let's get into the real-world stuff, the things the brochure won't tell you. Genesis offers the best warranty in the business, 10 years or 100,000 miles on the powertrain. That's double what you get from BMW or Audi. On the surface, that makes it the smartest financial move in the luxury world. But a warranty is only as good as the service department behind it.
The tension for Genesis right now is their identity crisis. Because they're still a relatively new brand, a lot of their dealerships are still just sections inside of a Hyundai store. Imagine pulling up in your stunning $85,000 GV80 and having to wait in line behind someone getting an oil change on a 2012 Elantra. It kills the luxury vibe for some people. There have also been some reports on owner forums about electronic gremlins, things like the infotainment screen flickering or the sensors being a bit too sensitive in the rain. The payoff, however, is that Genesis is moving incredibly fast to fix this. They are building standalone Genesis centers across the country that look like glass jewelry boxes. And more importantly, they offer a concierge service. For the first 3 years, they will literally come to your house, pick up your car for service, leave you a loaner, and bring your car back when it's done. You never even have to see the dealership. When you factor in that level of service with a 10-year safety net, the reliability anxiety starts to fade away. It's a bold bet on a new brand, but the data shows that Genesis is actually outranking most European brands in initial quality surveys.
Finally, we have to talk about the price. This is where the math either works for you or it doesn't. A top-trim GV80 is going to cost you around $80,000 to $85,000. That's a massive chunk of change. For that same money, you could walk into a BMW dealership and get a very nice X5. The BMW is going to have more clout at the golf course. It's going to have a slightly better resale value in 3 years. So why would you choose the Genesis? The tension disappears when you look at the feature list. To get a BMW X5 to match the level of equipment in a GV80, we're talking about the Nappa leather, the 22-inch wheels, the heads-up display, the remote self-parking, and the advanced driver assistance. You would have to spend almost $100,000. Genesis doesn't nickel and dime you. They give you the everything package for the price of a base German SUV. You aren't just buying a car, you're buying a statement that you don't need a specific badge to know what quality looks like.
So, what's the final verdict? Is the GV80 actually better than the icons? If you want a sports car and an SUV body, the answer is no. Stick with the BMW. If you want the most recognized badge in the world, stick with the Mercedes. But if you want a vehicle that feels like a genuine event every time you drive it, something that prioritizes your comfort, your peace of mind, and your sense of style over everything else, the GV80 isn't just a great alternative, it's the new benchmark. It proves that luxury isn't about how long you've been around, it's about how well you treat the person behind the wheel. Whether you're cruising through the city or taking a cross-country road trip, this is a car that makes the journey feel more important than the destination. It's bold, it's beautiful, and it's finally ready to take the crown. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.